Hey guys, welcome back to the one and only Galactic Reviews. I'm your host with the roast, Mr. Ethan Hart. Holla at him, my boys.
Drew.
Zach.
Payson.
And today we did watch Black Panther. And so I know you watched the last video. We're just taking some time to just give a humble goodbye to a legend, Chadwick Boseman. And so yeah, let's hop right into the trivia. So we'll start off with the easy one. What is the name of the country that the Black Panther rules?
Kenya.
Wrong.
Just kidding, man. That's not my answer.
Nah,
Albania.
No. We'll start down there. We'll go Zach, Andrew, and then Payson, because that's how it is on my screen. That's how we'll do it for the trivia, if that's good with y'all.
Oh, well, all right.
Zach, Andrew, and then Payson.
Yep.
All right.
I'm fine with
It's now you're gonna make me look like a fool on most of these answers. It was
We can go into
Wakanda.
Good one, sir. Drew,
Thank you.
Wakanda.
you almost didn't get that, but nice one. Payson,
I guess
Wakanda.
good
I
job.
thought you
All
said
right,
it was
so,
Madagascar.
no, it's actually Kenya.
And you
so-
said it was Albania.
Yeah, I did.
All right. So each king of Wakanda has some amazing female warriors that protected him. What are they called?
Okay, I got my answer. I don't know if it's
All
the
right.
right one.
Let's go.
Jason?
Okay, so I know roughly how it's spelled, but I don't think I'm gonna get it right.
You can spell it.
It is. I know it begins with a D. Shoot, it's like Dula, and it's like Dula Jet or something like that. I don't remember how it's
It's
pronounced,
Doulahan.
but
Unfortunately, I cannot give you any points for that, sir.
yeah, I kind of expected that.
Andrew, what you got?
Oh
for me?
my god, they are called intimidating.
No, sir.
All right, Zach.
Zachary?
Excalibur.
Excalibur. They're called Patient. You were actually, I wanted you to get this because of how close you were. It's spelled D-O-R-A, then put a little space, M-I-L-A-J-E. Dormilaje. Excuse me.
Formulaje. Okay.
Dormalaje. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't feel so bad now.
I know the name of the leader. Does that count?
No.
Oh no, it doesn't. Thank you, Zach.
All right. So, next question. In order to gain the powers of the Black Panther, T'Challa must consume an herb of what shape? Zach, that's on you.
The shape of this herb is I'm going to sound like an idiot. I'm just gonna say a flower. There we go. It's just a flower.
Unfortunately, sir, that's not the answer.
Nah, but
Andrew?
it is a flower. They took it out of a flower.
Unfortunately, sir, that's not the answer. Andrew?
I don't feel so bad.
I don't remember them saying anything, but I was thinking like a tulip or like a water droplet.
No, sir.
Dang.
Patient, give us the answer, please, sir.
A heart-shaped herb.
Yes, sir. There it is. It was a heart. All right. So this one shouldn't be too difficult, but it might be. But it's a simple one. Just think. You got this. What was the Black Panther T'Challa's sister's name? All right.
All right.
Jason?
Shuri.
Yes, sir.
Shuri. Yeah. Shuri.
Yes, sir. Sure. Perfect.
Is it my turn now?
Yes, it
Yep.
is.
Okay, it's Shuri.
Wrong. It's Shuri.
Okay, whatever. You got me. I give up.
The trust system. The trust system. All right. So, as we all know, vibranium is a powerful metal that gives Wakanda its power, right? Where did it come from?
Well, it's a metal, and all metals come from the same place, the Earth.
Incorrect, sir. Andrew?
Was it like a meteorite or like an asteroid? Came from
There it
space.
is. It was meteor.
It's still
Jason?
part of the Earth.
It was a meteorite.
Outer space.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but it landed on the Earth, so technically it's in the Earth, in a part of the Earth now.
What's
Jason, you
the
look
difference between an
you
asteroid
look
and a meteorite?
suspicious right now.
What?
You look suspicious. He said it's a meteorite.
Yeah, it's a meteorite from space.
No,
What I'm trying to think through is how they knew it was the strongest metal in the universe when they didn't know anything about the universe at that time.
bro,
That's what I'm
hop off
thinking
of
of.
them, bro. Hop
What?
off of them.
That's what I'm just thinking of that.
At that time in history, they were the center of the universe.
Alright, you got me there.
Theoretically, but
All right. What relationship does T'Challa's enemy, Killmonger, have to him? All right, Payson.
they are cousins.
Yes, sir. Andrew?
As
Hmm?
he was his father's brother's son, so his cousin. Not full Wakandan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, he was his father's brother's son, and his father's right-hand man, killed his father's brother. That all add up?
Yes, sir.
Alright,
correct.
sweet.
Good job,
So
guys.
she got
If any of y'all get this right, I'm giving you a quarter next time I see you. What is the name of T'Challa's mother?
T'Challa's mother.
T'Challa's mother. Payson, I don't want to give you a quarter. Man.
Shanghala.
Um,
I tried. What can I say?
Andrew?
Her Majesty.
Not what I'm looking for, sir.
I do not know her name.
Payson?
It's
I hate you right now,
Ramonda.
Payson.
Ramonda.
He's like,
something
it's right
that.
here. Yes, sir. Ramonda. Payson's just sitting there. I know the answer. Pick on me, teacher. I got my hands up. All right. So before T'Challa can become king, he must face many combatants in ritual combat. What are the two ways that the combat can end? All right, Payson.
I gotta name both of them.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. He can
For 1
either.
point.
Okay. For 1 point. He can kill. They can kill. One can kill the other, or one can give up.
That's correct. Andrew.
Yield or die.
Correct. Mr. Zachary.
Forfeit or death?
Yes, sir. My term was death or submission, but either
Submission.
way works.
That works.
All right, and
Andrew
for the
sounded
final
cool.
question,
It
Andrew?
really did.
you're first. Zachary, you're second. Payson, you're gonna finish this off. All right. Why does Killmonger want to become king of Wakanda?
All right. So he mine's a two-part answer. Partially to get revenge for his father, but mainly because to help the rest of the world, the rest of the, I guess, African American community, because they originated from Wakanda. I think
I can
according
accept
to
that, sir.
the movie.
I can accept that.
So he wants to use the vibranium and the Wakandan resources to basically rule the world.
I can accept that. All right, next.
I was gonna say he felt cheated because his father was killed by a fellow Wakanda person. I don't know the proper term for that. And so he never got the opportunity to go home and live his life and have a true combat to take the throne, I suppose you could say.
Can you sum that up for me?
He feels cheated.
I can't take that. I apologize.
All right, that's fine.
My answer
Jason?
was that he wanted to get it so that way he could help fellow Africans, whether they had been colonized or whatever, to help them take over their oppressors and help bring Wakandan rule over the whole world.
Yes, sir. I can accept that. And see, my answer for that was to fight back against his oppressors. And so you summed that up in there, Payson. You started with that, Mr. Andrew. And Zachary, you were getting there, bro. I was like, he's got it. He's got it on reach.
No, I had it, and then as soon as Andrew said it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the last part I needed, but I wasn't gonna add that to my answer. So I was like, I'll just go with what I got.
All right, guys. So unfortunately, it was a great game, but unfortunately, Zach lost that one. Better luck next time, my boy. I know you got it in you. But now let's head into the movie talk. So, just initially, I'd like to ask, what did y'all think about the movie?
Andrew first.
Sounds good. That was not my first time seeing it. I saw it, I think, two times when it came out in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
It is just, as part of the Marvel Universe, it's a great movie. It's not the first time we saw Black Panther, but it really gave us a great story for him. I thought Michael B. Jordan did a phenomenal job. I loved his character as the villain. Just super driven and goal, I guess, oriented. And he worked his whole life for that. And the way he died and went out was just honorable, at least. And he stayed true to who he was till the very end. And I love that about his character.
Can we talk about that ending fight? That was gorgeous.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, and as a standalone movie, it's a great movie. And Chadwick Boseman did a phenomenal job, and so many of the other actors in that movie did.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Shout outs to a bunch of the female actors. I feel they killed their roles. Like his sister,
Agreed.
his love interest. I feel like they just did really well as well.
Yeah.
It was just,
I
feel a lot of people did really well in their roles, and it was a well orchestrated movie. Like
pretty much any Marvel movie you look at, all of the people they choose really get into their character and do a phenomenal job.
I mean, it's Marvel. Who wouldn't want to be a superhero?
Exactly.
I get into my character.
Exactly.
So fast. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the movie was great. There are some parts here and there that are different from the comic books, but you have to then think time era and everything, and history and everything. So things change over the time. So for a recent movie that came out, I think it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
For history and recent time period. Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Payson.
You guys might not like me. I thought it was a good film. I just don't think it's not one of my top MCU films, but it's still a decent film.
Doesn't have to be.
Exactly. This one was the 18th movie that came out for Marvel, so you have a lot of choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices. Nobody's offended about top 5, but if you're talking about, I didn't like the movie at all, then we can convert it.
We all know you like this movie better than Captain Marvel. Let's be
well,
honest.
that's not much. Well, to be perfectly honest with that, that's not much of a competition. Okay, I'd rather watch
Tell him
Wreck-It
to-
Ralph 2 than Captain Marvel. So
Hey. Wreck-It Ralph 2 was a good movie.
Still haven't seen it. Let's get back on topic though.
oh man.
But yeah.
There were for me there were a couple problems. I didn't mind the comic book changes, like with Manape being head of the tribe instead of him in like basically a gorilla suit. I didn't mind that, and with him actually having the mask, gorilla mask on, that was actually a very good nod to his comic book origins. But it was just like some of the undertone. Some of the undertone stuff that you can get for every now and then. It's not like heavy, but it's just light. It's just kind of weird. A little bit takes you out of the movie just to ease a little bit and makes you think of the political world that we're in. But other than that, it's like you said, the actors did a good job. I thought the writing was, I'd say it was decent. It probably wasn't as good as it could have been, but it was still pretty decent.
I can see where you're coming from with like the political stuff in a way, because yes, Wakanda is separate from everything else. It's its own society. It does not, because it says multiple times that Wakanda doesn't affiliate with really anything else or any other tribes. They are separate. They will help other tribes around them, but they don't want to get over the top and everything. They want to stay secret so that people don't know that they're this advanced and everything.
Yeah.
So bringing in politics just a little bit here and now, I think is fine because of the villain, his cousin.
Yeah.
So bringing it in, it brings the perspective of his point of view versus Wakanda's. And that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, which I'm not arguing against that, because actually that's the way Killmonger is in the comics. Is he's very
exactly.
He is very. I would say he's very anti-white. Does that make sense? He doesn't like the white people, I guess is the best way to say it, in the comics, because my guess is Ulysses S. Claw is the reason for, in the comics, he's the reason for their banishment. Whereas in this, you don't quite understand why he hates him.
Well, wasn't the reason because his father helped what's his name steal vibranium?
Yeah, I know, but in the comics,
which was
Claw ended up killing his father, and then T'Chaka ended up banishing the family because they helped the Claw. Whereas, and then T'Challa ended up bringing Killmonger back into Wakanda in the comics. But it's just, like I said, some of it's kind of like, some of it was really good. Some of it was kind of made you look skeptical at why they specifically put that in there. But that's just me. I overlook things, as you can clearly tell. Like, I overcomplicate a lot of stuff.
So if I can ask about the writing, what did you feel could have been written better? I'm not saying that I think nothing could have been written better. I'm just asking, like, that was something you brought up. So if I could ask.
I think one thing would be, as you just said a moment ago, giving him more reason to hate. As I hate saying it, but the white man.
Yeah, well, they call them colonists. So,
yeah.
Which you know what they mean.
Yeah, instead of his right-hand man killing him, having Call kill him.
Yeah, and then he basically goes and that and they have that's also one of the things. But another thing is they have the structure on how they decide who the next king is. They have a battle or whatever, and you assume that takes place maybe once a year, and then all of a sudden it just gets tanked because one guy from outside who has never known the culture at all just decides to say, I deserve the throne and we need to fight. Like, I get that he's entitled to because he is part Wakandan, but he just goes in blatantly and just does it, and that kind of ruins the structure of the whole system that they got in a sense, if that makes
I
sense.
agree with that.
I mean, that was
I
kind of
definitely
the
see
point.
where you're coming from there.
I didn't think of that.
That was
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that
That's
was
a
the
bar
point.
Jason.
Yeah, I get that's the point, but they probably could have pushed back a lot more than they easily let up.
Yeah.
Whereas most people would have been like, no, that's the way it's going to be, and you're going to have to wait this specific amount of time, learn about,
But see, this dude really
and
was
then
out
after
here
a year, if you
boxing
want to
anybody.
keep on trying to do it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they were
who's really about to stand up to him?
They were so
I mean,
they were so kind of
T'Challa was. I mean.
yeah,
But see,
he was
here's where I'm coming from. If a dude walks in a bank with a gun, like, give me all the money, and then somebody's like, nah, you didn't work for all the money. You know?
I'd say that's a bad analogy because he had no power.
Mm-hmm.
So
Whereas
Yeah.
in the banker,
So-
with the gun and the banker that you said, he has power. It might not be the right kind of power that you like, but it's still power.
Mhm.
Whereas this
I
one,
would say a good analogy would be like someone walking into this, like a police station, pulling out a gun, saying, hand over all your prisoners, and then just being shot. Because it would be kind of like that, I would say.
yeah, because
I think that would be a better analogy. I'm
at
not
that
sure
point
though.
they're on equal footing with. Actually, no, T'Challa has more of an upper hand because he still has the heart-shaped herb inside of him. He still has the power of the Black Panther.
well,
So,
if you look at the
like I
politics
said,
of it,
it's just small things that just.
I disagree with that
overcomplicate
specific case. If you looked at the politics of that situation and not like the politics of today, as in within the movie, if T'Challa had said, no, either I kill you or you leave and then never come back, a lot of people could have seen him as the coward and been like, oh, you weren't even afraid, you weren't even brave enough to defend your throne in the ritual combat way.
Yes, but you also have to remember most of them just wanted him to leave in the first place. They didn't want him there.
Not the oh,
There was only one other tribe member, like head of one of the tribes that really wanted him to challenge
yes.
and that was it, really.
Yes, but the opinion of Claw was he also had the fact that he brought Claw in, which the other members were at least thankful and grateful about.
Yeah.
Of course and then he said, I'm actually royalty. And
I think another thing that kind of made them regret agreeing to the duel was afterwards when he was about to kill T'Challa, and instead
Zuri, I think is his
yeah,
name.
thank you.
Which
He
also
stepped in.
is another problem with the movie because you have a custom thing for this kind of battle, and you're supposed to die or forfeit, and he just stops.
Didn't he forfeit anyways, or no?
T'Challa? No.
Yeah, no, I couldn't
No, he
remember.
never did.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that. Again, I think they tried to complicate it with the politics of it because both an outsider and royalty,
Yeah.
is both conflicted between the thought of you're an outsider, but you're still royalty, and the fact that they feel guilty over the fact that they did not bring him back. And that they
Which
just
then
let
would have warranted a discussion instead of let's fight for the throne.
Well, the other thing is they didn't know he existed in the first place.
Yeah, most of them
as
didn't even
royalty.
know, except for T'Challa, who learned, like, you assume maybe a day ago at the most.
Well, the only two that knew was his father and
Zuri.
you just said it. Yeah, exactly.
And T'Challa
that was
just
it.
learned maybe like 5-10 minutes ago.
Exactly.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, I mean,
So
it's not a good situation all the way around.
It was a lot. It was a lot going through his head at that time. So.
But for the other members, according to their rituals, it was fully within his right to challenge.
Yes, but it was also fully in the right for them to wait the 2 weeks.
But also, he kind of outranked him in declaring the challenge and saying, I don't care that anyone has to be there.
Okay, so you're
I get
saying
the
that
right to
Shuri
challenge.
could do the same thing?
Technically, yeah.
Well, the only other thing I would say is he's only half Wakanda, so I don't know
Yeah.
how the ranking system would work.
That's
then.
another part of it, yeah.
Also,
Exactly.
he wasn't
It's
raised.
a lot of variables to it.
Yeah.
It's
Also, he doesn't
Exactly.
know their customs at all. He just came in and said, I want the throne.
yeah.
And completely ignored the system.
He just knows bits and pieces.
I mean, he did.
Well, he
Enough
just
to
knows
get by.
bits and pieces.
He did demand the right to challenge,
Yeah,
so he knew at least that much,
yeah.
Yeah.
and he knew their dialect. I don't know what their Wakandan.
He knew their
that's the
language
language?
from his dad.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And in the movie, at least, he spent his whole life trying to get to Wakanda, so he probably did research and found every little bit of information he could. That
I know,
there
but
was.
that also, they're very secretive in the beginning of the film. So
Yeah.
what little information you can get is probably like a very small fraction of what the whole
Yeah.
nation can offer.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, but like, to me, it still doesn't make, that part doesn't make any sense.
Well, Black Panther is very complicated in the comic books anyways, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of backstory and
Yeah, yeah. Like he had a
Information.
white stepbrother, or white adopted brother in the comics called White Wolf.
Okay, for sure.
So, which they didn't. I thought that was funny.
so
I thought
kinda
that
like-
would. I thought that would have
kind of
been
like
interesting.
Bucky.
Yeah. Well.
Because didn't
Which-
they call Bucky Wolf?
Yeah. Which I'm assuming might be because they've heard stories of the White Wolf and they think Bucky is the White Wolf. So they could easily bring in the White Wolf.
Possible.
So I mean, but
Yeah.
you never know.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Now my only
They
other
could easily-
question is after he destroyed all of the flowers
Hmm.
and the hearts, and they only saved one and gave it back to T'Challa, can there be any others after him, or is he the last?
I mean, with the technology they have, they probably can figure out a way to regenerate it through the remains of the ashes. But that would probably take some time.
But
Because
time
I don't
that's
even
worth
think
taking.
I don't even think it says anything in the comic books about that. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, also in the comic books, I believe to become king and to become Black Panther are two different things. Whereas in the movie, they treat it as the same
Well,
thing.
yeah.
I mean, he was Black Panther
Well-
before he was king.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He was, he was Black Panther before he was king.
Then okay.
Because in the
Because
very
his-
first scene he's in, the I Never Freeze scene, he wasn't king yet.
Yeah. When his father died, before his father died, he was still Black Panther going around doing everything.
Is
His
that
father
in
was
Civil
just
War?
the diplomat.
Yeah,
Is
he's in
that-
Civil
is it-
War.
That's in Civil War? No,
Yeah.
I'm saying like, is that discussion about him being Black Panther while his dad's still king? Is that in Civil War? Because I don't remember that at all in the movie.
It's probably during Civil War and stuff, because it does hint at it a lot.
Okay.
But I
Because, I
mean,
mean,
also,
I don't
he-
think it outright says it; it just implies.
Yeah. Well, even then, still, the whole film treats it like it's the same thing.
Yeah, I
Whereas,
can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you would think it'd be two different battles for like both Black Panther and then and to be on the throne. Whereas,
they treat it as one battle.
Yeah.
So I see where you're coming from with that.
I think what they're, for me at least, what they handed at was that the king is Black Panther until he can no longer be Black Panther, and then it gets passed on to the next Black Panther, and he's still king until the next like line of succession thing happens.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to assume a lot of stuff though, which is my problem. Another thing is you never really get much of a backstory. All you get is like bits and pieces from like Civil War. You never really get like a full on backstory. So, but that's just another.
Personally, I try to think of the movies and the comics separately because technically the cinematic universe is a different universe than the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're going to talk about it that way, they should still pay homage to the original work because it's not their, which it's not their,
still
it's not their character. They're just taking the character and bringing the fan base with it and creating their new thing.
Yeah, but they still have to condense it enough to fit into a movie. Yeah, so they have to take a lot out, especially with Black Panther because there's so much being thrown at you.
I get that, but it's just, and then they complain when people don't like their character. So I mean, and then call you all kinds of other stuff. So I mean, like I said, I overthink this too much. So
it just depends on the movie and the comic books and everything, and how well it's written to represent the comic books properly, but also equal out and fit together in all of the movies. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, I thought Edward Ross was a good character.
In any, I guess, movie, TV show type of deal like this, you're going to run into that issue.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, I know the three of us watch and read manga and anime and whatnot, and that's just something that's always in topic. What did they change? What did they miss out on? What did they just skip over, which is important to the plot? That's something commonly that we have to look at and think about, And so at this point, I'm callous to it, bro.
It's something that you just run into whenever you adapt something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm not expecting it to be completely by the comic book. Because, I mean, Into the Spider-Verse wasn't completely by the comic book, and it was a great film. And I think it was better because it wasn't by the comic book. But
as I've said, Black Panther is just a lot to throw at you.
Yeah, I get that.
At once.
But some of the stuff I've said, I don't see how you guys could, I see your argument points, but in my mind, it's just that some of that stuff just doesn't make any sense, and I could be just misinformed, but I mean, it was. Don't get me wrong. It's still a good movie. It's one of the better MCU movies. It's just there are some parts that kind of make you squirm in your seat a little bit. It's kind of like that doesn't. Yeah. So,
one thing I'm wondering about is they still have it saying that the next Black Panther movie comes out in 2022.
Yeah.
That's actually something we could definitely talk about. Some people are saying, I've heard two schools of thought, and I've heard one school is that Shuri should be the next Black Panther because she's smart, she's a genius, she built all the tech, and she's his sister. But the other school of thought, which is more of what I agree with, is that Black Panther is a warrior, and she is not a warrior.
Yeah.
She is cool
Yeah.
and awesome and smart.
Exactly.
But
She's a
she's not a
tech
woman.
You
savvy
don't just
person.
Didn't she also
game
say?
that out of nowhere.
Didn't she also say in one of the movies? It might have not been in Black Panther that she would prefer to stay in the lab and build everything for him
I'm
rather
pretty
than
sure
fight.
she said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
So-
said it's not my job or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think majority
She's
think
mean-
more
that
like a
One thing
Yeah.
they could do is if he was because he knew he had cancer in the first place. So one thing that could have happened is he agreed to allow them to CGI him in the next movie.
that
Hmm.
could have been that could be true. Yeah.
we'll see how
Now,
that
see,
works. That would
So
be
If
cool.
that
I
isn't
mean
the
that's
case,
what they did. That's what they did for Mockingjay for the Hunger Games, the
Mhm.
last one. They CGI'd
Oh, we'll keep going. Come on.
one of the characters. I forget who off the top of my head. I mean, same thing in Star Wars.
it was a good talk.
That was a great talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm very nitpicky.
No. Hey,
No,
how you gonna
honestly, we
how you gonna
need
talk about movies like that?
we need to be nitpicky enough so that we can have more to talk about and explain.
I
Get
love the
different-
controversial conversation.
Exactly. So honestly, it works. It makes
Mhm.
it a much better for the video. So breaking the
Yeah.
fourth wall here, but yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, well-
Well, that was Black Panther. That was this week. That was part of, I think we may be doing Tenet later. That was part of our kind of honoring of Chadwick Boseman and his legacy, both on screen and off the screen. Rest in peace.
Yes.
And also, the next movie is my movie, and I'm thinking of doing The Shining. It is a classic horror movie, one that I have not seen yet. So I'm looking forward to doing that one.
All right.
I'm-
Zach, do your.
I'm excited. Yep, my outro. Yes. What am I doing again?
You have got
Yes.
about a minute now to just kind of your thoughts on
All right.
honoring Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. Here we go. All right. So he started. The first movies you see him in are like 42. Honestly, great, wonderful movie. And I think it fit his character and who he is as a person, an individual. Very strong-willed, powerful, unyielding individual. And he had this cancer for quite a few years. I mean, he had it during the filming of Black Panther and everything. So he knew about this and still continued. That is by far really impressive to me. So, yes, it's disappointing to see him go, but I think he was a very respectable individual, and you can look for him for a lot of good characteristics. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right.
Beautifully said. Rest
All
in
right.
peace.
That's the episode.
Yes.
Anyways,
All right.
See you
See you
next
guys
week,
next
guys.
week.
see y'all next.